The Boondocks is regarded as one of the best TV shows to come out of this generation. It became popular for its no-holds-barred approach towards certain topics and its uncensored and non-stop comedy. But one thing people sometimes don't talk about this show is its animation style. This is a debate that's been going on for quite some time now, and that is the Boondocks considered an anime? The short answer is yes. Thank you for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one. Nah, let me stop playing and go into a deeper detail about what is and what isn't considered an anime. What is the definition of anime? That can be explained in simpler terms. Anime is basically just Japanese cartoons, just like the way it is with manga and comics. But the definition is a style of Japanese film and television animation, typically aimed at adults as well as children. When you put it into those terms, I can think of multiple American cartoons that follow that same guideline. But the true definition of anime is a style of Japanese comic and video game cartoon animation. Anime is the prevalent style in Japanese comic books or manga. Storylines are often very sophisticated and complex and extend into episodic series. Typical anime themes or genres include ninja and other martial arts, the supernatural or horror story, the romance, and science fiction including robots and spaceships. Foils for the main character, including robots, monsters, or just plain bad people, often lack the doe-eyed quality. After hearing that, doesn't that basically sound like every work of fiction ever created? If that was the case, then everything would be considered an anime. So why is the Boondocks an exception where the likes of Avatar The Last Bender failed to accomplish? Which I would like to add is an anime, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. It follows the anime rules. It tackles adult themes such as PTSD, redemption, overcoming obstacles that'll shatter any normal person, bringing balance to the world. Like, there's so many life lessons in The Last Airbender that I don't know why people won't admit it. Why? Because it was created in America and doesn't have a subbed version of the show, and technically doesn't have an anime opening or an anime ending. It automatically isn't considered an anime. Ironically, there's a term for that, and it's called anime influence. Sorry about that. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Oh, and by the way, Batman is considered an anime now, and it's all thanks to Batman Ninja, so suck it. Anyway, back to the Boondocks. Here's some interesting facts about the Boondocks that you probably already know. The Boondocks first started off as a web comic in 1996, and even made an appearance in the University of Maryland's newspaper, The Diamondback. In 1999, Aaron McGruder signed a deal with Universal Press Syndicate, appearing in 160 newspapers. In 6 months, the comic strip was distributed to more than 200 publications. Then, in 2005, the comic finally became animated. The creator, Aaron McGruder, was heavily influenced by anime, even taking the steps to draw them to display anime-like features because he already envisioned his work would one day be animated. You can tell from the opening alone that it had anime influence, from the visuals and even the iconic opening. Adding themes such as jazz and hip-hop gave it that final touch of perfection. Other anime have blended hip-hop and jazz into their work as well. The highly praised Cowboy Bebop, the heavily underrated Samurai Champloo, and even Afro Samurai. Hip-hop and anime have went hand in hand since the 90s with the Wu-Tang Clan. After the first episode, you could tell this was something special. Having the legendary Regina King voice the two main characters, Huey and Riley, and John Witherspoon voicing Granddad, rest in peace by the way. With this comedy mixed with its stellar cast, the Boondocks was able to last for 4 seasons. To be honest, I don't even remember watching season 4. I literally looked up season 4 and watched the trailer for it and said,
"Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?"
It looked like someone took the rights of the Boondocks and created an entirely different show. There were plans to bring it back as a reboot, but was canceled before it could make any moves. The Boondocks can be qualified as an anime for multiple reasons. First, being the fights. If you look back on all the fights in the show that involved Huey, they always displayed martial arts and anime-like qualities. From the very start of the show, there was a blend of martial arts and niggatry when it came to the fighting. Huey was the martial artist, Riley was the brawler, and then there's Granddad, who doesn't even fight. He just beats people up with his belt. This man was out here whipping people like it was the 1600s, and his name was Django. Like he was Bruce Lee, and he unlocked the nunchuck skill tree. And the craziest part about it is that it somehow worked. If you can make something as simple as a belt look like one of the greatest martial arts weapons in existence, how can you not consider it an anime? What's dope about the fights were the anime callbacks or influences for some of the fights, referencing Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, and even Naruto. Also, Moe Animation, which is a company owned by Madhouse, helped shape the anime aesthetics of the first 3 seasons of the show. But Huey wasn't the only martial artist on the show. There was the GOAT, Grandmaster Bushido Brown, Kung Fu Killer Wolfbitch, aka Luna, Stinkmeaner, and the Hateocracy, and everybody's favorite racist, Uncle Ruckus, which still surprises me to this day. And I was really disappointed that they only did that for 1 episode. One of my favorite fights would probably be when Bushido Brown fought the Hateocracy. Seeing Bushido Brown finally go off after his fight with Huey was honestly worth the wait. This moment isn't considered a fight, but it was probably the only time where the show did some really over-the-top anime-ish that you could see in most anime today. And that was the dodgeball game when Huey went off against the Chinese kids. That was honestly a top 5 comeback in anime for me. So when it comes to fights, Boondocks has that locked down. Another reason why it is considered an anime is because of its soundtrack and themes. One thing the Boondocks has never missed on was the soundtrack. We all know the importance of the soundtrack in anime. Even the opening and ending set the tone as well. Like I mentioned earlier about its perfect blend of hip hop and jazz, it is truly a masterpiece. Whoever was cooking in the studio for this soundtrack deserves all the recognition and praise, because I was listening to it to get a remembrance of the soundtrack, and damn near turned into a Super Saiyan Samurai master. When I remembered they used Wu-Tang Clan for the blind samurai scene, I damn near lost my mind. Boondocks using classic songs and songs of their own creation was spectacle. Touching up on themes, they didn't miss on that as well. Now, it might not have been your typical anime trope where you were born with some mystical powers or some crazy stuff, or somebody who landed from space when you were a kid, or even a revenge quest. But it touched on a lot of themes in the black community and did a great job at it, which is one of the reasons why it's so highly praised today, because of its rawness and honesty. And finally, animation. You can't really justify its animation style on whether it's an anime or not. Actually, you can judge one's animation style on if it's an anime or not. That's literally the first 4 words in the name. Like I said earlier, the Boondocks' animation and drawings were created solely to look like anime characters and present themselves with that aesthetic feel. The year was 2005. It wasn't high tier quality animation like you've gotten from Bleach 1000 Year Blood War and other studios in today's current anime, but it still holds up to this day. Pretty much like every 90s anime that ever came out. The Boondocks was animated by Moe Animation, like I said, which is owned by Madhouse. What more do I have to say? If you look at the drawings for the reboot that was supposed to happen, the animation style was going to be more anime style based. So hey, there's your answer. The Boondocks was honestly one of my favorite shows growing up, It touched on the topics and events that happened in the black community, but also topics that other people were scared to talk about, like R. Kelly, undercover gays in the hip hop community, and the most infamous one, the Tyler Perry episode that got banned on Adult Swim. In my honest opinion, the Boondocks could have had that same longevity that South Park and Family Guy have today, but as long as the script was right and the actors were willing, because there's a million things out there right now that the Boondocks could have easily talked about today. Like practically every day and every week, there's a topic that the Boondocks could easily touch on. So to sum things up, yes, Boondocks is considered an anime. The creator even said that the Boondocks was their attempt at anime, but it's very, very black. People have been starting to agree with it for a while now, and there's nothing wrong with that. Just because it wasn't made in a language that you can't speak doesn't mean you can't call it an anime. Because surprisingly, America actually can make some great anime, believe it or not. Let me know in the comments if you consider the Boondocks an anime or not. And like always, thanks for watching the video. Leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.